Clank, Vlad banned out by CJ so far. That Shen taken away by Jin Air, as well as a Twisted Fate.
With Kuzan in the lineup, is there a world where they don't ban Talia? I have to think it will be the final ban on red side, but usually you want to ban those pesky champions out first so you don't have headaches later when it comes to champions slipping through to first pick. But for now, Jin Air have been steadfast in not banning the Talia.
You don't suppose that one of two things may be happening here, that Jin Air either has a counter pick for the Talia, well, I mean, they would have to if they're not going to ban it out, because they can't first pick it, so...
Well, the new variable also is the new
ban
mid laner in Kuzan, so maybe he knows something about Talia matchups that we don't.
That's yeah, I mean, if they have to have the counter pick, right?
You have to think so. But we'll wait and see as the draft goes. Talia amazingly not banned. Hecarim also the must banning, and CJ not banned, so...
Take the Talia. I say go for it. I mean, it worked so well for you in game number 1. I mean, you have a game 3 if this goes poorly. I say test Jin Air, see if they really do have an answer to this or if it's a bluff.
I don't think you first pick it. I think you have license to leave it up. I can't see Jin Air first rotation yet as a takeaway, so I don't think it's necessary just yet to pick it. There's a lot of available. No Vladimir at first pick, they banned that out themselves. Shen was also likely first pick champion. I mean, you could take the Trundle. So far, you've looked excellent on that. You gave the Gnar matchup over, and that didn't make much.
The Ashe. There you go.
Okay, so one of those utility AD carries we talked about. Sivir's still available, the Callista. They made a lot of good work with that pick in game 1, but they're going to prioritize Ashe over Sivir and any of those other picks. Today, traditionally, it's been Sivir first picks so far.
Yep, that's right. But the Ashe available, it was banned away against CJ in game number 1. And we have seen Kramer do, I believe, pretty well on that.
I have to think with last pick and the threat of Talia, you leave last pick for mid lane for Kuzan. He could definitely play something like LeBlanc into the Talia and try to just assassinate the champion.
Very true.
I expect this to be pretty standard, so yeah, Winged will be locking in the Elise this time. Graves is available if Haru wants to take it again, and given that Haru has struggled a lot of this season, it'll make a lot of sense to stick with what's working, which was the Graves, at least in game 1.
It really did work, but you wonder again how much of that, and you got to go back to the Talia again. I mean, there was just so much pressure in the mid lane that Haru could kind of go wherever he wanted. He spent a lot of time in bot lane.
There was another variable there too. Remember, level 1, they blew the flash of the Nami, who then had her second flash blown almost immediately after she had it. 2 flashes before level 4, so
yeah.
They had lane control on bot. They were winning 2v2. Mid lane was killing the opponent 1v1. So you're right, Graves had basically free reign to do whatever he wanted. Mad Life's most impressive champion this season has been the Bard, which we haven't seen any Bard bans or Bard picks today, so always exciting to see Bard. And also Bard and Ashe have a lot of synergy in terms of locking down or changing fights.
Yeah, very true. 3, 2, 1. Looks like it will be the Graves and Bard locked in for CJ.
Where they're going with it, again, they have no incentive to show the Talia if they're going to take it till the next rotation. Heavily expecting this to be a safe top lane pick, could even be a takeaway on the Trundle on the side of Jin Air and that AD carry. The AD carry part is going to be the Sivir, which Pilot has been defaulting to this season. We talked about Trace spamming Aurelion solo queue. 7 games in his immediate match history, 7 victories in a row. He's going to try the Aurelia as a blind pick. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Trundle once again from Shy.
Well, Shy doesn't seem to care what matchup it is. He's been playing really well on that Trundle in both games we've seen this season. Still a small sample size, but a good start to that sample size anyway. And will we see Talia?
I think it's
I want to see it again. I want to see it again.
I think it's risky, Doa.
I think you go for it. I know they're probably not going to, but I say go for it. I mean, what else do you have? Normal stuff isn't working. Use the abnormal stuff until it doesn't work. They've got a game 3 in case this doesn't work in game 2, so I say go for the Talia.
Well, they're considering listening to you. This would be a blind pick for the mid lane. No mid laner selected yet on Jin Air Greenwings. Kuzan also a very different mid lane, a lot more stage experience. Yeah. Had some very impressive carry games. Will be a risk, but they played it so well in game 1. They're going to go with it again in game 2.
All right, so yes, we will see that Talia again.
I think you LeBlanc this.
LeBlanc seems safe.
That's the first champion that's... Of course, I don't really know the Talia matchups that well, but that would certainly be one that strikes me as a strong one.
I mean, theoretically, you could put your Talia W on the distortion snapback spot, but...
The what-ifs there are just a bit too situational. You could go for something ultra safe, which would be the Victor. You would assume Azir will be safe, but there's no option for the Victor to dash into the enemy damage unless he flashes into it. So
with Victor being less mobile than Azir, though, one has to worry a little bit. But you know, the burst from that champion is really high. You can go toe to toe, probably exceed what Talia can do. So yeah, probably not a bad pick.
And again, it's not like Kuzan is going to have a wealth of information about Talia, so why not go for a champion that could always be blind picked, that was always going to be safe, get one item and be able to clear the backline and wave clear. So they're not going to allow the Talia to have a skill matchup in mid. It's very much going to be Victor playing safe. A lot of wave clear on the side of Jin Air, and when you see double line wave clear, the Victor and the Sivir with a champion pick like Irelia, it's all about the Irelia. That's a worrying thing. Trace is 0-2 on this champion, but he's clearly got his eye in solo queue. It's now about translating that solo queue performance to the professional level, because this is very much a game set up for Irelia to carry in what is a skill matchup against that Trundle.
Yep, that's right. I feel like it's a big moment for Jin Air. Can they finally get the top carry rolling? Can they grab the meta and shake it until it does what they want it to do? I don't know. I don't know if that's really a great analogy, but
shake it till it slows down.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture. That's right. All 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 right.
Boom. You're just beatboxing over there, Noah. I love it.
It's not really beatboxing, but okay. We'll take it. Either way, CJ with a chance to get a 2-0 over Jin Air, which is not something we expected coming into this one. But the Talia pick for Sky has been very good. Shy looking great on that Trundle. Jin Air, though, swapping back to Kuzan in the mid lane. We'll see if that's enough, along with Trace's Irelia, to turn the tide and force a Game 3. We don't have to wait too much longer, as the game is loaded. It is time. Jin Air looking to tie things up. Let's see if they can do it. And welcome to Summoner's Rift, where the Cloud Drakes would show up eventually. You know they will. CJ versus Jin Air, game number 2. And what does CJ have in mind this time? Probably a lot more of the same. A lot more of what they did in game number 1, but Kuzan is no Blanc.
You're right, but the comp, as you say, does a lot of similar things. They still have so much terrain and just pick options. It's crazy to think of a pick comp without champions like Elise and LeBlanc, who had the chains and the cocoon for obvious pick CC, but the permanent terrain of something like the Talia ultimate and the Trundle into CC from Ashe, and of course the Bard ultimate, means that there's so many game-changing ultimates and skills available for CJ that, given how practiced they looked in game 1, they can ape that and continue to perform to the same level. They could certainly repeat the performance that saw them upset Jin Air, and a 2-0 would be insane as Pilot actually flashes over going for this Gromp contest.
Wow, this is...
That's not a Lucian dash at all.
Interesting. No, that is a Sivir flashing.
You do not expect this in any form.
Shy and Haru do not know this is coming. Now they do. Pilot coming in. There's the exhaust on Haru, forcing the flash on that Grave. So Summoner for Summoner so far. And they will not go for the Gromp themselves. So... just kind of making things difficult for Haru and Shy early on.
So let's try and make sense of that, because people will look at this and be like, lol, he blew his flash. But
was that worth it?
What you need to remember is we're going into a lane swap. You do not theoretically need to flash in the next 5 minutes, because what happens at this point is very well traveled. You hold the wave, you build it up. In the next 5 minutes, summoner spells are almost irrelevant, so there isn't necessarily that cost. You don't usually see swap backs at any point. You lose too much if Ashe and Bard leave the bot lane. So while it seems like a massive investment, it's actually not that big an investment. It's still insane, though. There's no way you can play around that as the enemy team. As a Lucian, we saw already today, Lucian and Braum skipping over the wall. That's something you can do. But to actually invest the flash is a next level we haven't seen before.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, how do you really punish that?
There are edge ways, but someone's going to be a big loser in that, because there's going to be a trade back as the minion waves are being built up. With how jungle pathing and how the bot lane have been built up, there's just too many things that need to happen to swap back. So it's just not worth the investment. There'd be too many losers across the board to take around a situational advantage, which is the enemy's flash, right? He still has heal. Right. He's still not a free kill in the top lane. So in the end of the day, it's probably not going to be in any way relevant unless we see a swap back, and even if we do, it's going to be very defensive play, and they're not going to put themselves overextended in a long lane.
Right. It will be that fairly normal lane swap at the end of the day.
Well,
oh, Kuzan taking a ton of damage already from Sky, and one wonders if Sky is just that good on this champion that these other mid laners don't really have a lot of experience against.
I think we need to apply Occam's Razor and be surprised at how good Sky is in the champion, but we already saw Blanc clearly have no idea how the champion worked, and it's safe to say that Jin Air has very little exposure, because it's the one thing you'll notice is that they're not respecting the ranges. Kuzan was surprised that he was bounced back by the W. So that's,
I was surprised.
That's a lack of knowledge about the range that these abilities can be cast at.
And, you know, that's a bit surprising to me, because Jin Air allowed this to happen. They didn't ban the Talia. They said, we can handle it, no worries, we've got Kuzan. Kuzan's going to play Victor, it's going to be fine. And already we see that recall force, that teleport used early. And we see Sky with a pretty decent CS advantage immediately.
I mean, the most famous example of a new champion warping a series was a series that involved CJ, which of course was Dade and Zed in the famous Summer 2013 final, where Dade went Zed 3 times and MVP Ozone upset CJ Blaze 3-0. And obviously the stakes are a lot lower here, but they came in with a plan. They're like, these are the bans we need against CJ Entus, and they believe in that to the degree that with a new independent variable added, which was that carry Talia performance in Game 1, they're sticking to their guns. So they need to step it up if they're going to contain this Talia, because although it's not the same crazy oppressive laning phase, they're going to have to learn quickly on how to deal with this particular champ.
Yeah. Wow, and Sky is just being so aggressive on this Talia.
Pretty even damage trade that time, and when level 6 hits, Victor gets 1,000,000 damage and Talia gets a gap closer, so at level 6 we'll have to see Sky be a bit more respectful of Kuzan.
Yep. We should be a little bit worried.
Kuzan actually goes against the favored summoner spells. We've seen a lot of Ghost Flash on the Victor, but actually takes the teleport this game. I mean, one of the primary reasons to do that is to get to lane if you misjudge a trade. So there is an element of respect there in going teleport.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Sky's really overextended.
I don't think Sky is respecting the power of this gank from Elise. There's a cocoon, and Sky is going to have a really hard time getting out of this one. Flashes to the edge of the gravity field, and that's not going to help as First Blood goes over to Kuzan. So I think when Sky comes back to lane, he's going to find a pretty different situation.
Bit sheepish, he's going to feel after flashing onto the gravity field. Could have tried to flash over the wall instead. Could have also cast the ult at some point away in a different direction, but did neither of those things and was punished. Doesn't have teleport, so passive doesn't find you all the way from base to the minion wave. It's going to be Haru holding the lane in mid lane.
Yep. We'll get there a little bit quicker anyway with the passive.
Those giggles though.
Hee hee. So fun.
I mean, rock surfing looks pretty fun.
It does, but it really messes up the grass. The groundskeeper in Summoner's Rift hates Talia.
Who would get the groundskeeper skin though? There was like
probably Maokai.
Groundskeeper Maokai.
Yep, I can see it.
Young ruffian Talia.
Green thumb Maokai.
This was a mirror turret trade. We didn't talk much about CJ looking for an extra objective though, trying to punish the Aurelia with very low wave clear.
Yeah, Cocoon on the Mad Life though. Gonna take a chunk out of that Bard.
3-man investment as Talia is still able to farm in mid lane. Not much Shy can do in the mirror situation in bot though.
And we may see a bit of a gank coming in from Sky. Yeah, backing away. And this also just serves to take the pressure off of Shy a little bit too. And we saw that be kind of a big part of their Game 1, where a lot of things that they were able to do by having that big mid lane pressure was let Shy just kind of farm and stay safe.
But that kind of undersells what Shy was able to do, because you remember he was ignored, you know, we mentioned the pressure in mid and bot, but he was ignored. There was no jungle pressure paid to a Trundle versus Nara matchup, and he went even and in fact decided to win the lane in an unfavorable matchup. So he deserves credit for getting no resources in an unfavorable matchup and going even.
Suppose he does.
So that turret take the inner turret. It's going to be an answering inner turret. So lots of long lanes. So Shy walks up and with the arrow coming in.
Yeah, Shay could be in a bit of trouble. There we go. Weaver's wall comes through. Shay, can he get over? He has the flash, but Sky gets the kill anyway. It's 1-for-1. Nice cosmic binding onto Pilot and Winged. And they're nearly catching Mir. Maybe they
not
can.
done.
Yeah, Shy, not quite getting close enough. Was wondering if Shy could maybe get there with the pillar, but didn't have the cooldown up, it looks like. So they'll be happy to trade.
Nice aim on the threaded volley, which of course continues in the same vector. Managed to hit it all onto the low health Shay and take it down.
Works like the culling. Haru completely caught as he goes into the enemy jungle. Easy kill. But Jin Air may pay for it. Jungler for jungler. Wing flashes over the volley from Kramer, but Kramer gets the kill anyway. Sky and Mad Life still chasing, but they're going to get pushed back out. Yep. Sky with not a lot of mana, you're right.
It would have had a crazy chase. I mean, the chase you can see from Sky on this Talia is already very clear. It was a really nice ult to get the first kill. And then if you're fighting in the enemy jungle, there's so many walls for him to surf around and chase down with the threaded volley. Once you get the Rylai's, that's going to be a gap closer in itself. So more nice Talia play. Sky making us a believer of this pick in its debut in Champions.
It looks really strong, and you got to wonder if we're going to see this a bit more going forward.
Easy answer is yes, and with, again, the mooted train changes regarding just adding a bit more burst, which didn't look very necessary in Game 1. The mechanics changed in how WNE activated, which means the burst is more reliable. I think the champion will be a staple pick ban in the meta.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we've kind of thought that Talia looked pretty strong from the beginning, but the Korean players just had not really picked it up yet until today. And man, I mean, what a debut. I don't think it's been a little while, I think, since we've seen a new champion look so dominating in their first game in Korea here.
And of all people to do it, it's Sky. This guy who, you know, had a lot of ironic words, you know, tough words for him in his debut season. We were all on that BDD watch, wondering when he could play because Sky was struggling to that degree. And then he comes in and, on a new champion, makes a massive debut performance. And another reason why Talia is so interesting, Doa, is that think of the 80 carry pool we see right now. It's specifically Sivir, Jin, and Ashe. None of those champions have escapes. Flashes down. You see that Weaver's wall behind you. You're screwed. Yeah. Sivir especially. So often you forget that she doesn't have a dash because she fights pretty well with the spell shield. You're not going to spell shield much when you can't run away with any speed because it makes the on the hunt just not relevant because the terrain cannot be passed by just mere movement.
Yeah, very true. CJ does go for that Cloud Drake, and they will pick it up. Didn't see what the next one was going to be. It's going to free Jin Air to go for the Rift Herald, though.
The Rift Herald onto Aurelia would help the matchup. Aurelia's not there, so it's going to be probably just the Elise picking it up.
Yep. Like to give that over to Winged. Yep, they will. Sky, though, getting some more damage on the mid lane turret.
Has ult to surf away, just like last time. Flash also, so able to get about 50% damage on the outer turret.
Not bad. Shy, again, getting a big CS lead up in this top lane and now in the bottom lane, just in the 1v1, playing so well on that Trundle.
His team has also been proactive. If you think about the turret trade we saw of inner turrets, CJ took the first one. CJ decided what was happening. Jin Air reacted, and the moment you're reacting in a lane swap, someone's losing CS, and that someone ended up being this Aurelia. Whenever Aurelia falls behind, the expensive build of the Trinity Force gets more and more delayed, which allows Trundle to go a very greedy build. Consider the build he has right now. He has Merc Treads, which, okay, slightly less CC duration, but that's no longer the first max from Aurelia, and Magic Resist, which doesn't help you against Aurelia very much outside of just some incidental damage, and then Tiamat. So no health. Health usually the statistic against the true damage from the Aurelia, so he can go a pretty greedy build and feel good about it.
Yeah. Good start for CJ, small little gold lead. But, you know, if CJ can get a lead like they did in game number 1, I think the big thing that we're going to need to look for is to see if they can close things out a bit more methodically. Game 1 got a little bit scary for them at the end.
In the late game, Trace gets big especially, Jin Air have the advantage. But if Trace is just fighting an even war with Shy, they don't have as many options in the late game as potentially CJ, who can change fights. We mentioned it already. Just the 3 ults of those bottom 3 members, Talia, Ashe, and Bard, can do so many creative things that are hard to itemize against, that warp a team fight. I love the options that Talia brings. These champions that don't have combat ults really provide CC or just alternate win conditions that warp the way a game of League of Legends is played.
Yeah, it's cool. Very cool. CJ moving Kramer and Haru up towards that top lane. Just to get a little bit more farm onto that Ashe. Somebody is saying something somewhere.
And that's Graves laughing.
Graves, yeah. Just having a good time.
Giggles from Sky, although here comes the damage trades once again.
Yep.
Looks like he's sticking with the build. So Abyssal Scepter in the first pickup.
Sky's done a good job, too, of just poking down that turret. It's not often when you see a Victor pushed in so hard and, like, lose so much on his turret.
I mean, 1+1. Victor and Azir are the 2 champions that we've seen the Talia against, and they're prominently played for the ability to push in and then get turret damage.
Yeah.
The auto attacks of the Azir are famous. The Victor also, we remember so many Victors getting those outer mid lane turrets first because of that ability to pressure. Talia has always had massive wave clear. Once again, just the amount of damage that you can do with threaded volley on a minion wave when you're not on worked ground is for all to see. Here we go.
Oh, well, Wing taking a little bit of damage.
Emergency ult from Pilot. Safety first.
Yep, that's right. It also, I mean, it was nice from Sky, too, to give Mad Life time to escape from that without having to burn any summoner spells.
Look how extended Shy is. He's doubled the CS, 100 to 51 on the Aurelia.
That is crazy.
You just look at the CS values. 50 CS advantage in top, 13 CS advantage in the jungle, 10 CS or so in mid lane, even in the AD carry role. Even if you factor in Braum, we're talking about 40 to 50 CS that's gone lost from Jin Air, they just haven't got access to because CJ has been dictating where they go on the map. And because Jin Air reacts second, minions are dying to the turrets. And the gold lead is almost purely, in fact, almost exclusively in those minions that have just gone wanting for Jin Air.
Yeah. Here comes Winged. Oh, Mad Life tries to predict Winged to walk forward. He does not.
NA Cosmic Binding.
UK Cosmic Binding. that's the trend now, I think. Oh boy. Wing trying to flash out of this one, but the CC comes in anyway. Double teleport for Jin Air. And CJ, I think, is going to be pretty happy getting that. They're going to back off. And there's the wall just to keep them safe unless Haru decides to go back in and die again. But he decides to change his mind and not die. But again, that's a great use of the Weaver's Wall from Sky. I mean, seeing CJ was under a little bit of pressure, they got the 2 teleports out from Jin Air. Leave it at that. Trade that for a Talia ultimate. Looks good.
I mean, having a single teleport advantage is one thing. They got a double teleport advantage now. So they were already running the map, as we could tell from the CS values. And now, with double teleport, Jin Air need to really employ the buddy system because the moment they're in 3 lanes, there's so many different angles that this team, with the Bard ultimate still up, with the Ashe ultimate coming back soon, can attack you from.
Yep. Definitely. Dragon up in 30. We didn't see which one that's going to be quite yet.
We'll return to our Cloud Drake first assumption.
Probably Cloud Drake. I love that assumption because either you're like, all right, we thought so, or you're happy because it's not. It's Cloud Drake. We thought so.
Yeah, it would be Cloud Drake, wouldn't it, though?
As expected. Yep. Mad Life and Haru deciding, you know what? It's Cloud Drake, who cares?
Weaver's Wall not up yet, so it's one big cooldown that's not available.
I mean, will CJ actually fight for this? I feel like it's just not worth it. Kramer's got the arrow, yeah.
Way out of position, though.
It's true, but he can be there with his ultimate anyway. All right, Silver Ultimate user going to try to go in on a Mad Life. Mad Life trying to take a magical journey, and he gets out just in time, but they're going to chase. So I guess Mad Life's going to give up his life in exchange for the dragon. Was it worth it?
Second Cloud Drake, something.
Well, they can knock down the mid lane turret too, possibly.
They're certainly in position to. No worked ground, so Sky instant pushes the wave. We see Elise leading the way, so it starts to get more and more risky for CJ, but they're going to try it.
This is a 4v5, and that's a ton of damage coming up from Kuzan. He's going to nearly get killed by Kramer, but he will live. And Jin Air looking for a big fight, and they get 2 big kills. onto that Victor. Yeah, I think CJ pushed it a bit too far there.
Where'd the safety first of game one go, Doa? They were so safe in closing out the game, but
don't know.
You just have to know at this point you're too far. They had wards, double ward in the river, so they knew they were coming at the speed, exact speed they were, but they both didn't focus down the turret and didn't get a kill, so they give over 2, and their blushes are spared by the timer. It's only 17 minutes when that fight happens, so no Baron to punish them, but in a different game, they lose Baron from being that brazen in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they thought that wasn't going to result in a 4v5 after knowing exactly where Jin Air was, knowing that they didn't really use too much to kill off Mad Life. Maybe they thought they could kill the mid lane turret quicker and move out, but I don't know.
The thinking caps were just slightly off the head at the time.
Maybe a long way off the head.
Yeah. Double Cloud Drake.
Oh, yes. So, CJ's moving around the map just a bit faster. Maybe that's what they thought. Maybe they thought, well, we've got 2 Cloud Drakes. We can do this and get out.
Yeah, Ash is at 370 move speed, so she's feeling pretty good. Sure. One thing you can say is that, you know, when Sivir is popped, having that extra 30 movement speed, obviously the moment that the first auto attack comes in is negated, but if they can kite back from something difficult like an initiation from Jin Air, it might be relevant.
I suppose.
Do have to reach a bit with Cloud Drake.
Yeah, you do. CJ's still keeping the pressure on, though, especially in that bot lane.
Behind in gold, though, worth noting.
That is true. Definitely a different game. And a 3-0-2 victor is certainly something to be a little bit afraid of. I mean, Kuzan obviously handling this Talia a bit better than Blanc was.
Victor's a lot more non-committal than Azir. Not that Azir is a super committal champion unless he chooses to be, but it was Blanc choosing those wrong engages, consistently going in with E and being punished.
Yep.
Victor only has one way, and that's usually kiting backwards unless he's way ahead. Nice steal from Haru.
Yeah, Haru's able to take that blue buff.
Meanwhile,
that's
a Trundle.
Nice. Meanwhile, a Trundle. Meanwhile, a Sky. Meanwhile, a turret falls.
A new way to
going
cast.
Full haiku there. Meanwhile, a cast. All right, well, one turret goes down. Steal the blue buff, so the gold lead does go back into CJ's favor just a tiny bit. It really doesn't matter a whole lot.
Most of the lead, especially in CS, is between Shy and Trace. Trace continues to be very much on the back foot. Still going to be going offensive with the second item.
Yeah, Mad Life comes in, though, engaging onto Trace. There's the exhaust use right away. Trace trying to blade dance his way out of there. That didn't work. There's a kill. I think he may have. That was a blade surge his way out of there. Yeah.
When he flashed over, it looked like he was stunned by something. I'll watch the replay to confirm, but sometimes terrain can do interesting things.
It's true.
Both red buffs on the map being taken by CJ.
Yeah, Haru grabbing the enemy red buff. Mid lane turret's still very healthy here.
This is one of the reasons I think... Oh.
Wow, Haru got caught. Sivir ultimate use to try to secure that one, and they will. Meanwhile, Mad Life trying to recall. No, Bard's not going to make it out of this. Kuzan with an easy pickup. CJ just looking a little bit lazy in their positioning here in Game 2.
Kuzan on a rampage.
Wow,
They're going back
what
in.
in the world are you doing? That is a 3v5. Shy goes in, dies immediately. Sky can't do a whole lot. Has to flash away. Pilot very, very low. But he will live, and I have no idea what Shy thought he was going to accomplish. Going into essentially 1v5. Nice flash cocoon onto Kramer. Will they be able to get it? Looks like they will. Sky picks up a kill onto Wing, though.
Double kill.
Double kill, yeah, onto Trace, too, I suppose. All right, well, that Talia is still doing work. 4-1 and 2.
That was the last bit there was very strange, actually.
All right, this is a sloppy game. Let's just admit it.
You got to call a sloppy game a sloppy game. This move by Shy is terrible. Like, there's no ward. He just dies instantly for no reason. They didn't even have access to more members, so Teleport came in to give Jin Air 5. And then Jin Air, they see Kramer and they want to take down the Immobile Ash. You can understand that, but look at the potential punishment in your Innistrad. They've started Baron.
Well, watch what Sky does here.
He just kites backwards. He's not on worked ground anymore, so he's able to channel the Q, get the damage. They started Baron a while ago.
Tempered Fate will help CJ secure that
It's
Baron.
risky.
Presumably, Pilot tries to take it. He doesn't. Meanwhile, the kill onto Victor is huge. Jin Air on the run immediately. Pilot going to go down. There's both carries. And that worked out pretty well for CJ.
Nice Talia ultimate. Actually split Aurelia away. Would have had to blade surge to a minion just to get to the other side, but would have been not able to get there anyway. Nice move from CJ, and that comes from Jin Air over pursuing under the turret on Kramer.
Well, this has just been kind of a game of overextensions from both teams here, and CJ just the latest to come out ahead.
6-1 and 2 out of nowhere on this Talia.
Yeah, I mean, 4 kills in just like the last minute, basically.
Exactly. In your head, you're like, man, Victor's been running away with this game, but Talia, with that many donations, has just as much gold.
Yeah, Shy coming back in with the TP, Haru taking a bit of turret damage. Overall, though, the zoning, too, that this Talia can give you allows CJ to get a lot of damage on that tier 2.
The thing that people should take away from this series, and what other teams will take away, is the fact that Talia has shoved in and taken the turret of an Azir and a Victor.
Yeah.
Wave clear is so important in this game to be able to just stand tall, to have options in the middle. If you have a wave clear advantage, you can chip away. But we're going to look at the fight, the Baron once again. Nice borrowed ultimate earlier. They choose to rush it down. The smite is true. There's no sign of Elise, of course, still in base. But remember at 17 minutes when I talked about what happens when you overextend as a jungler? Well, they overextended as 2 members, and this is the answering Baron that you get 22 minutes into the game.
That is now 3 Cloud Drakes for CJ, so, all right, I'll admit, they're moving pretty quick now.
Yeah, coming back to the wave clear, the fact that this champion can out-wave clear 2 of the wave clear gods of the past year lets you know that Talia is going to be a staple pick.
Yeah, I think so. I think the age of Talia has officially begun here in Korea. And we never would have expected that it'd be Sky to usher it in with so much success. Kuzan getting a bit caught. Wow, Kramer has to flash away. Speaking of getting caught, good Tempered Fate from Mad Life, and then the protective wall coming in from Sky. Can they use it to take a tier 2? Doesn't look like it. I mean, another overextension. This time from the CJ side.
Yay!
I don't know, a game of throws. Could be an apt description of this one.
Omewrecker.
Yeah, Omewrecker does work on the turret. It's back again. Shy loves that Omewrecker.
Shy was like, I saw that Omewrecker yesterday. I can do it.
It's beautiful. He's like, I'm gonna build that item. Oh yeah, turrets ain't got nothing on me.
Well, this game has been a lot sillier than game 1.
Yep.
The tonic
Action
to
packed
work
for a Jin Air series too.
Well, now we know the tonic for a Jin Air series. A bit of Talia.
Guess so.
A bit of Talia makes the Jin Air go around.
In the most delightful way.
Indeed. A spoonful of Talia.
That's right. I don't know. It sounds kind of grim. But
That's true.
a lane full of Talia
Makes the Jin Air go around.
makes the Jin Air go down.
It's true.
In a most delightful way.
Summons the sad plan.
Yeah. Well, another story to this series has been Shy quietly being awesome on this Trundle pick too. Shy is back.
CJ's early game has been rescued to a great degree. Remember, I touched on the CS, the fact that they had that 60 extra CS that Jin Air hadn't been got to. That was because they were dictating where Jin Air went. Jin Air was just shadowing, by far in second place, the much superior early pathing from CJ Entus, something that has never been a staple of CJ. Their early game has always been pretty damn weak, so it's really nice to see them thinking out this early game, and who knows how much of that is Shy or Sky or the coaches really having a new insight on the game, but
True.
It really is great to see, because CJ is such a wonderful, massive, proud organization in Korean esports, and seeing them down the bottom was pretty disheartening for any of the legacy League of Legends fans.
Well, it's been a while since we would have really thought of CJ as a team that was, you know, playoff bound. Shay comes over the wall in a little bit of trouble, able to block a lot of that damage with the shield. But yeah, I mean, if this is truly them turning around their season, who knows? All right, looks like they're going to use the Weaver's Wall just to take that inhibitor turret. Thought maybe they could catch somebody. Maybe they're just not going to get anything out of it. All right, well, it's not exactly the shortest cooldown in the world either.
Wing tried to Protobelt over the wall to get the engage on Ashe, but found out that Protobelt doesn't actually top you over walls.
Nope.
That was a bit awkward.
Runs you into them. Oh well, you gotta find out somehow, right?
Exactly. Learn by doing.
Yep. There you go. So we're back to where we were in game number 1, where the question is now, can CJ close this out methodically? Can they close it out in a prompt fashion. Ash Arrow does connect with Shay. I don't think that's something they can really pick. Maybe they can with the W from Talia. Haru taking a lot of damage here. Mad Life on the run now as Pilot gets aggressive. They went for a pick. They ended up taking a bit of damage on their jungler for it. Doesn't stop Shy from looking pretty good in that bot lane.
I mean, at this point, Trinity Force and no completed second item, no way for Trace to pressure the Trundle. It's not been the poor performance from Trace this game, honestly. Not much of this game has been related to the Trace versus Shy matchup. It was a lot about early pathing and following of junglers, much less than the lane mechanics. So very hard to evaluate whether Trace's performance as a single data point has improved as much as perhaps it needed to, but it hasn't been a cause of concern for Jin Air fans like it was in previous games on Aurelia.
You know, hilariously, the 3 Cloud Drake buff does help compensate for some of CJ's overextensions. They can get out of bad situations easier that way.
I mean, the rotations they can make with 3 Cloud Drakes and something like the Magical Journey, like you move blazingly fast with all that movement speed between lanes. So that's only really relevant though when specifically inner turrets are being targeted. All those inner turrets are down. It can be relevant if you've got minion waves set up to push on to, say, mid lane turret and top lane turret. But you're right. At the end of the day, 3 Cloud Drakes does help you against something like a Sivir, at least when it comes to acquiring the first target. Now it's on CJ to think their way through ending the game, which is, again, you give an A+ to CJ for innovation, but the closing the game was more in the B- range.
Here we go, big engage, but Mad Life takes a magical journey to get out of it. And Tempered Fate, Braum gets some hang time. Kramer in a lot of trouble though, gets caught with that cocoon. There's a kill for Pilot, exhaust onto him now. Haru chasing Winged out of that fight. Sky has to back away out of that Chaos Storm. A bit more damage might do it, and there's the kill for Kuzan. Haru looking for something. Mad Life might be able to find it with the magical journey into a cosmic binding onto Kuzan there. Mad Life taking a lot of damage, giving Kuzan the double kill. Meanwhile, Haru dies as well, so okay. This is kind of what we saw in game number 1. CJ not looking too good in the late game.
And look, Winged is alive. They can definitely take Baron off the back of this outer mid lane turret. Big mistake from Kramer, overextend. He dies with his flash up. Need the buddy system when you have an AD carry like this Ashe, but walked up to try and initiate, and then 4 members flash on top of an Ashe. What are you to do? Even with something like the Weaver's Wall, you cannot cast it defensively fast enough to split away a team with Sivir ult. It's just not something the ult is able to do. So you can see in the picture-in-picture, just like the last time we saw a team fight replay.
Shy getting in there.
Going to be the Baron buff. Will it be a bonus kill as well?
Oh, Shy just decided to die there.
Yep.
In the, weren't seeing it because we were watching that replay, but Shy is down for another 40 seconds. Jin Air with the Baron buff. And this one may not be quite as over as it looked a few minutes ago. And the thing is CJ got away with things like that in game number 1 because they had such an enormous lead, but it's not anywhere near as big as it was in game 1 here in game 2. So could be in trouble. Ocean Drake now for CJ. Again, they don't have the Infernal Drakes. They don't have the Mountain Drake this time. So they don't really have that same dragon power that they did in game 1 either.
You can make more mistakes in the mid game when your late game is amplified by 16 and eventually more than that. We're going to see the replay of Shy. He just tries to contest. The first part is fine, but when he walks up to auto attack, that's a little bit strange because he's not realistically going to be able to do anything, and they have an Elise with Smite available.
Meanwhile, we've got some action in the other game as we watch Shy dying. Mad Life taking a lot of damage as we come back into this, but they do catch Winged. Are they going to pick up a kill? They will. Mad Life lives through that somehow. Had to burn the temper.
Ash Arrow.
Ash Arrow with the engage. Haru there, but I don't know if CJ can chase this. Sky jumps off of the Weaver's Wall, perhaps on the wrong side, but he and Shy will try to zone this Jin Air team. Sky looking for a big damage opportunity, but this Jin Air team may just be a little bit too dangerous to engage. CJ, though, thinking about going for it. It is a 5v4. Mad Life low, a lot of ultimates down, though. Chase still has his. That Braum ultimate could be big.
This is Jin Air side. They're on the CJ side of the map. There's so much terrain here and other ways to jump over walls. If CJ want to fight, they will get it.
Yep, that's right. First Crop needs to be dealt with. They do. Sky coming in, zoning. with that E. Going through with the magical journey. They're going to try to loop around and flank. Mad Life looking to hit a good cosmic binding. They dodge it. Long fight here. Che a little bit low. May have to pop that Braum ult defensively. Whoa! Meanwhile, they just blow up Kuzan. Che finally drops the Braum ultimate, but it's too late. Shy slowing down Pilot and Trace in the back lines. Ash Arrow, great connection onto Pilot. There's a double kill now for Sky, and they are going to turn it right back around, taking the Baron buff off of everybody except for Trace.
And Jin Air signed their own death certificates when they fought on the enemy side of the jungle against Magical Journey, against Trundle Pillar, against the ultimate from Talia. They're just going to brute force down this turret, at least spawned, and now he's going to go pick up some camps and maybe try to proxy. Just going to recall, complete waste of time by Winged. There goes the inhibitor turret. And CJ, they ride the seesaw all the way to the inhibitor.
They do, man. It is, it's been quite the seesaw. It's a good way to describe it. Let's watch that again.
There's just no way for Jin Air to get back. The moment they cheat towards CJ's side again, think of all the cooldowns that CJ have to both gap close and create terrain, slow down the enemy. It was going to be a 5v4. Elise was, of course, the person who died. And when you're trying to run away from a Talia who can walk next to the wall, have increased movement speed, and then worked ground isn't a consideration when that's an area of the map you haven't been on. With the Rylai's, acquiring targets left, right, and center. Many die for Jin Air. The seesaw favors CJ, at least for now.
Yep. Trace has that GA. So got that going for him.
I don't see 10 kill mid laners very often, but 10 of the 13 kills on the Talia.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it shows you the strength of this pick, and even Kuzan, traditionally one of the most successful mid laners in the league, certainly a good one for Jin Air. Really struggling, despite being 6, which is weird to say considering he's 6-2 and 7 on this victor.
I mean, Kuzan can't be doing any more. He's had 13 out of 14 kill participation. Yeah. He's just kind of watching every other member of his team be caught out.
Or him be caught out. I mean, he just got destroyed in that last fight. Insta-give.
I think in general he's been good, but you're right. The last team fight has now swung it back to CJ. They've already got one inhibitor, looking for a second one.
Yeah, Ohm-Wrecker cooldown almost up. They can use it on that turret again if they decide to go in.
Unironic things you didn't think you'd be saying this series.
I know, yeah. That Ohm-Wrecker cooldown, man. Good stuff. CJ has to be careful. This is kind of the place where you'd expect them to lose another fight. See if they do. It's just one of those days, right? All right, going in.
So, big issue here is that obviously they're trying to brute force down a turret defended by Victor and Sivir.
Yeah.
That's not happy times.
Best to go back and get ready for this next dragon. It is going to be up in about 1:45.
I believe it is the Elder Drake.
Should be, I think, at this point. Should be.
So, while the movement speed they get likely won't be relevant, it's a lot of it at this point with the extra 50%. I think it's 62.5 move speed, which is an insane amount.
As weird as it is, I mean, that extra movement speed does compensate for kind of the weaknesses that CJ has shown in the late game. So, in a bizarre twist of fate, the 3 Cloud Drakes is actually pretty beneficial for what CJ's been doing, or the lack of what they've been doing, I guess.
Just the most consequential Cloud Drake we've ever seen, Noah.
It helps bad teams be not so bad, I guess. There you go.
Look, CJ's on the road from being a bad team to a middle-of-the-pack team, okay?
Sure.
They're trying their damnedest.
I mean, they've had a good series. They've taken every dragon in these 2 games so far. They've only given up 1 Baron, I believe.
Continue to push up. Continue to really think through. They have that broken top lane turret to the top lane inhibitor, sorry. So the next Drake should be walk in the park. You know, we'll try to walk up for now and get some vision, but I think it's going to be really tricky to pull off.
Yep. CJ right now, some good vision all over the map, just keeping all lanes pushed. Right now, Jin Air really has no idea where anybody on CJ is.
Kuzan still has deletion damage on everyone barring the most tanky of targets with the 4 items he's put together, so has to be respected. Still a force.
Yep. I mean, and Sky doesn't have that Zonias either. He went for a very similar build to what we saw in game number 1, and that does leave him a bit vulnerable. Use a glass cannon. Oh, Che, though, completely caught. Throws up the shield, able to hop back over to Pilot.
Went glass cannon in game 1. Remember, this is Sky going glass cannon on a champion that needs to get pretty close range to do a lot of damage. So atypical But with the fact that he's only played, I believe it's 10 to 15 competitive games, he gets a chance to redefine himself. Decent in the series last time out, and very strong in this series.
CJ really wants to catch somebody as they're coming in to go for Baron. Or as they're coming in to check to see if CJ is going for Baron. That is.
No way for Jin Air to get vision around the Baron. We can see a pink ward has been sitting on top of that Baron for now.
Yep.
Sky has teleport, so can be liberal in his backs.
Very true.
Just buys a straight up Void Star. That's a lot of power.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now it's 6 items. Only person in the game at 6 items, which makes a lot of sense when he has 10 out of 13 kills on his team.
Yep. 100% kill participation on this Talia. 10, 2, and 3.
Jin Air left his pick open, though.
Yeah, Mad Life. This is a cosmic binding on Shay.
They brought this on themselves.
It certainly did. Yeah, they thought they could handle this Talia, and apparently so far they can't. Battle of the GA top laners. Oh boy. Although Trace certainly looking a little bit better in those 1v1s.
Not realistically with kill pressure, though. That's kind of the issue, is that Tono could have altered and got some health back anyway. Shay looks for a ward.
Yeah, that's the thing. But finds a Bard. All right, Tempered Fate onto Wing. Shy coming in from the side. Talia walls everybody off. Wing cannot get away. There's the pick CJ's been looking for. With the jungler down, it is Baron time. Sky has been very, very good with those Weaver's walls. I mean, that was perfect. Just cutting off Wing, getting that pick, setting up the Baron.
And he's been assertive. That's the thing, is he's trying to make plays. This guy, known for defensive laning, has been playmaking, going against type and doing it well. The Baron explodes in damage.
Here we go. Baron getting very, very low. Shay throws the Braum ultimate in, but CJ does get the Baron. Jin Air on the retreat now. Kuzan maybe looking for a chance to turn around. Mad Life and Sky come in, but they walk right into the Chaos Storm. Got to be careful there. Kuzan picks up 1 kill. CJ backing off. They've already lost Mad Life. And, I mean, coming in with that magical journey was so obvious. Setting it up for Kuzan. Aru coming over the wall, though. Shy getting aggressive. 2 kills coming in.
Sky
Aru picks up the double. Sky looking for some too, but it's going to be the triple kill for Haru off of the damage from that Talia. Trace, the last one standing as Wing just came back up.
Seems unnecessary, but Sky's going to look for the last exit kill on Trace. They had low health bars on everyone else, so maybe they thought they couldn't get a mid lane inhibitor.
Yeah.
Trace is still walking around. Sky in Hot Pursuit has that passive, so no getting away for Trace.
There's a GA pop. Sky setting things up.
This is time wasted, though, for CJ.
There we go. That's right, but that's going to be a long time they have to go without Trace when CJ's pushing their base with the Baron. So in the end, I think the chase was worth it.
And it delays the death timers, so now all 5 won't be up at the same time. Shy can disregard the damage from Wing, disregard the turret as well for no real gain, let's be real.
Homewrecker OP. Meanwhile, Elder Drake taken by CJ, and there is nothing that Jin Air can do about this. Wow.
Well, double MVP Sky is what we're going to see if CJ do win this series. Still 100% kill participation.
12, 2, and 6. I can't remember the last time we saw a mid laner get this many kills in the game.
To say he's gone off would be a gross understatement by LCK standards.
Yeah.
And he's gone off in the most aggressive way. Where's the Zonias? Where's the GA? Apparently
Seriously.
Doesn't need any of them. So basically this was ridiculous from Mad Life. He walks up to a 5-item victor. And
not a good idea.
Almost both of them get instantly destroyed. So buddy system fails on the magical journey. But Sky's smart. He's like, I've got Baron recall and teleport. And they had a lane ward, which will be on your screen very shortly. And just as he teleports in, Haru's gone this DPS build. They get everyone low. Would have been exit kills for Sky, but instead just instant kills Pilot as he comes through. Well thought out from CJ, apart from the engage.
I mean, I don't know why Mad Life decided to be a T-ball and choose Kuzan as the batter, but, you know, some of the decision-making for CJ late game, of course, today has been pretty questionable. They managed to get the lead, a big enough lead anyway, to win this one. They're 10k ahead now. There goes the top inhibitor. Sky still pressuring in the mid lane.
1 auto attack away, but doesn't want to walk up for it.
I'm going to say 2 auto attacks.
When you have that much AP, it's 1.
1. Oh,
for Sky in particular.
Oh, sure. I see.
Doesn't need a Lich Bane when he has 600 odd AP. Won't be able to walk up though, so for now the turret stays up. Shy will walk up though.
Yeah, there we go. 783 AP actually. be precise.
Thank you.
I just had to check. It was a lot. Wow, Jay pops a Braum ultimate. Shy a bit low. He's got that GA, though. Another inhibitor goes down in the mid lane. And CJ just going to back off, play it safe.
I think they can afford to in this game. I think with the team comps as they were in Game 1, there was that danger of losing team fight. So I think they have more options. The Aurelia, the damage is only really relevant in the early to mid game. We've reached the late game point. I guess you could say some of the builds are pretty aggressive. So Aurelia could probably kill Sky in a little while, but the buddy system has to be better than we saw from them the last time. So Aurelia in the damage case is probably largely irrelevant. Victor is the only one who can still boss people around. Just the Lich Bane completion short of full items.
Sky is getting very close to Flame Horizoning Kuzan. There goes the bottom turret. Wings, a lot of members force a flash over that Weaver's wall. There goes the inhibitor. And CJ is zoning very, very well. All three inhibitors down now. Whoop, the Ash Arrow goes a bit wide, and CJ probably not going to be able to push it too hard now.
But whenever they decide to bring up all three minion waves, the war of attrition means they've almost certainly won this game. We've seen stranger things, but not that much stranger than how far ahead CJ Entus are. Finally break the 10,000 gold lead as well.
I can think of maybe 2 games that were won by a team that lost all 3 inhibitors.
Involved CJ Entus.
Yep,
that was on the winning side.
CJ Blaze, and then KT won that game against MVP. Those are the only 2 I can think of off the top of my head.
There's maybe be one other, but I don't actually know the date, so I'll defer to you. It is a very, very rare occurrence for those sort of comebacks to happen.
Yep.
At least in the LCK. There has, of course, been games in other regions where that has happened as well.
Sure. When I talk about things like that, you know I'm only talking about LCK.
In case there's people in the Twitch chat with other timestamps, though.
Timestamps.
I mean, like 54 minutes 32, they said this, but obviously there was this game.
Oh, wow. I don't worry about that.
That's fair. Well, bring up those minion waves. Kramer's the one in the bot lane, but Graves also there zoning, so no chance of Kramer being zerged down. And okay, CJ, you kind of misstepped trying this in the previous game. They're going to run at Kramer again.
Yeah. Pilot pops the on the hunt. The Sivir ultimate used. Jin Air not able to follow it up though. Oh, Kramer getting a little bit crazy. Trace flashing away. Chaos Storm dropped, but it's going to be Trace who gets dropped instead. Talia with 1 kill, and this could be the end of the game. Oh. CJ going for it. Ash with the double kill, and that will be it. CJ Entus, off the back of the surprise Talia pick, will be able to take the 2 over Jin Air. Man, I did not expect this, not in a million years would I have told you that CJ was going to 2-0 Jin Air based on 2 Talia picks.
And that's the thing, the second Talia pick should never have happened. They decided to leave it open. We said the only thing we were sure of was Kuzan coming in the lineup. That happened, and Talia being banned, but they thought they could handle it. Once again, most damage, didn't quite have 100% kill participation, so single tier rolls down, 13-2 and 8 though, 21 out of 22 kill participation. Hard carry performance by Sky. This season continues to surprise, and perhaps today, in the most crazier fashion, it just continues to surprise.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say besides Sky looked fantastic on that Talia pick. CJ, you know, looking a little bit less than fantastic here and there on their late game